Oh, well, how do I sound?
You sound marvelous. There we go. Jimmy,
Hey,
you're here. How's it going, man?
it's going pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing well, thank you. I'm doing well. Thanks for coming on and having this chat. I've literally just been going through the video. I've rewatched it and I've cut it up a little bit nicely.
That was pretty
Emotional,
long.
man. Emotional. Well, no, it was good though. It was really, really great to watch because you could see all the emotions,
Yeah,
all of the different emotions from I'm not going to do this to like really timid sort of hover shaving,
right.
and you went for it. You the courage built as you went for it, and it was great to see. It was great to see. So thank you so much for filming that and sending it
Yeah.
over to me.
No, thank you for doing what you do. I mean, it helped me so much.
No, it's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure, dude. How are you feeling now? Afterwards, it's been a little bit of time afterwards.
All
Talk
right.
me through everything, man.
Well, the first day, it was actually really weird. Like, I didn't expect it. Like, the next day, I'd look in the mirror and I'm like, who are you? It was like this really weird sensation, just like, oh my gosh, I actually did it, and then, as the days go on, you finally, start to get into it, you used to it, you see yourself and you're like, hey, there you are. All right. Yeah. You
Yeah,
kind of, you build yourself into it. And it's like, you go out, like it took me a couple days before I went out, like out because of COVID and everything, there was a couple days before actually seeing people.
yeah,
Um, but so before I actually saw people, I posted that video on Facebook, and I was actually super overwhelmed by all the positive responses. Like,
yeah.
it's probably, if not the most liked thing on my Facebook feed,
Really,
probably, one of the top, two or three
yeah,
things.
yeah,
And just like people I hadn't talked to in however long, they'd come out and just show their support, being like, wow, you look good. This, and I don't know, it just helps. Like, when you open up like that, you can be so, I guess the people that come and support you can be just so helpful and
yeah.
great, I guess. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I think people really receive, like you said, just being open there and putting yourself out there, being kind of vulnerable like that.
right,
People just really respect it because it's rare. It's rare to see. It's rare to see a guy just openly share, like, hey, I was really struggling with this. And this is me kind of owning that insecurity and moving past it. And I
right,
think it really encourages people to kind of take maybe, reflect on themselves and their own insecurities, right? And kind of be like, dude, like mad respect for going for it because that isn't an easy thing to do. Like I've got, they, like I said, reflect on their own insecurities, maybe look at ways that they can kind of deal with theirs. And so it doesn't surprise me, because that's always the thing. It's very difficult to put yourself out there like that, like you did on Facebook.
right,
But when you do, it's really surprising, right? Just how, just not how great, not just how great people can be, but also because you probably told yourself before, and in fact, you even mentioned it in the video, how are people going to react? And you kind of
right,
almost assume that it's going to be so many negative reactions, right?
right. Like that, you just think about that. Like, before you're doing it, you're thinking, wow. Like, I think in the video, I even said, like, half the time I look at myself in the mirror and I imagine it, and I'm like, half the time it's like, okay, this won't be so bad. And the other half, I'm gonna look like a weirdo. I think that's exactly what I said in the video.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, you did,
but
yeah.
I think it turned out pretty good, and I think everybody else has kind of confirmed that. So I'm pretty happy with that result then.
Brilliant, brilliant. No, I'm happy for you too, man. So yeah, so the initial sort of reactions, you put it out there on Facebook, and the reactions were very positive. But how did you feel yourself? How did you feel yourself? Kind of like you said, looking in the mirror. It's a big change. It took a little bit of getting used to. Talk me through from like day one to like a few days later, and how was it kind of your perception of it, and how you kind of feel about yourself and about
Right.
that? How has that changed?
So yeah, like I was saying, day one, it was weird. Like, I wasn't used to it. So I didn't. I was just in my apartment the whole day, and I was just like kind of feeling it out, I guess, by myself here. And then the next day, it was actually kind of funny because it was raining. And I'm like, wait, I've never actually gone out in the rain for so long because I've been afraid of like the comb over getting wet and it looking terrible. So I go out and just kind of like feel it. I feel the rain, and it's just like, and I instinctively go up, be like, oh no, oh no,
Really?
but there's
Yeah.
nothing to actually fix anymore. It's like, wow, like this is pretty cool. And then there's like a big gust of wind, like, oh no, no, but then, oh, I don't have to worry about that anymore, which what is a really cool feeling. And I keep feeling that throughout the week. Like it's getting less and less as I get more used to it. But that was a thing that kept happening over and over again,
Yeah.
where these previous disturbances, I guess, gusts of wind or rain or whatever, or like sweat when you're working out, uh, I'd immediately go up and try to fix it. And now I don't have to. And that's pretty cool. And that part gets me, a lot. Like that's the part that feels the most,
Yeah.
I guess, those instances where I'm realizing I don't have to worry about that anymore. And then, so later in the week, I actually go out with some friends. We play in a hockey league.
Cool.
So usually after a game, I take off my helmet, it'd be all sweaty, and like immediately I go to fix it. But didn't have to do that this time. Just like on Facebook, they're all super positive about it. And then like right as I walk in the locker room, basically they're all like, "Oh, there he is," because of the Facebook post and all that. And it's like, yeah, 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 yeah. And like they're all saying it looks good and all that. And then right after that, it's down to business. It's hockey time. You just go and you don't even think about it. And
Brilliant.
then we all hang out afterwards, and it's like nothing changed really. It's like they all you get used to it, and like yeah, like in a lot of the videos you post, um, you talk about how like beforehand, or like somebody you're interviewing talks about how like you're worried about what people think like after you do it, but then in the end, nobody really cares, right? Like they like you build this up like, oh, people are gonna point at me and laugh, blah blah blah. But like I've actually, I guess now I can say I've experienced that that's not true, because I
Yeah.
walk around my apartment complex. I see people all the time. They're not pointing, laughing, or looking or anything. Now it just seems like a ridiculous thing to me.
Yeah.
Even just after a week, just walking around and seeing people, at the store or whatever, it just it just seems ridiculous now. It just seems like it's a normal thing.
It's crazy, right? It's so it's every time I kind of reflect on it and think back to my own story as well, and having these conversations with the people I interview, and now yourself, it's just so interesting how you, like you said, you build it up in your head, playing through all these crazy scenarios, like when I don't have any hair, like how even how you described, how the hair was before, like you weren't happy with it, and you were like covering it up, but you would
Right.
still kind of, I'm assuming you would still in your mind think that, well, if I had no hair it would be even worse, because people would be like, oh, look at that bald guy or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Or and then
Can I
you
really
build,
pull it off? That kind of
exactly,
thing.
right? And you build it up so much, and then when you go for it, and then none of that's, like, literally none of that stuff happens. And not only does none of that stuff happen, like you said, like people react so positively to it.
Right.
It's just, and it just becomes a non-issue. Like it's just not even a thing anymore. It just seems so crazy. It's like, how can something that was so difficult and just always on my mind now not be a thing?
Right.
And that's just part of the beauty of it, the simplicity of it, right?
Yep. And I'm
Because
still getting used to the fact that it's not there. I mean, and
yeah,
then I imagine in like a month, like it'll be ancient history. It's
yeah.
like I had hair. Well, okay, it probably wouldn't be that much, but
Yeah,
but
it won't
yeah.
be something that you wake up and you're getting ready to go out or whatever, and that's the sort of main focus of your routine or whatever,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
You mentioned there about the hockey game, gusts of winds, things like that. So was that quite common for you? Times like that where would that be on your mind? Like, say you've played a game of hockey and you've got to take your helmet off now. Would that be something you'd be thinking about? Like, oh, like how's my hair going to be looking? Or was that like always kind of playing on your mind?
It was always on, literally after every game. It's the first thing I think about when I'm taking off my helmet. Take it off, make sure like it's all wet, so it still looks bad even when I do the comb over like this with my hand.
Yeah,
And it was kind of exhausting, I guess. And like when the wind blows, I even got to the point where I'd angle my head a certain way so like it would go with the wind, because if it goes the opposite direction, it comes up,
yeah, yeah,
and it's so exhausting. And you don't want to go to pool parties or anything like that because of the hair. And now now I'm all exposed. This is all me, and the wind's not going to change that anymore. The rain's not going to change it. Like this is what I got now, and
Yeah.
it's I'd say freeing to
Brilliant.
not have to think about that.
Brilliant.
And yeah, like I said, in a month, it'll all be ancient history, hopefully.
Exactly. So
And yeah,
you mentioned the word freeing there, right? And we often use that term just to feel free, feel much lighter, just clear about loads of other things. And it kind of gives you that, it gives you a kick, to move on to bigger and better things. How do you feel like in yourself? Do you feel like more confident? Do you feel more comfortable? How are you feeling just kind of about yourself?
so I'll look in the mirror and like I think that's when I feel the most confident now, because like I'm starting to grow into this new face really.
Yeah.
And like it just, I look at myself and I see that looks like a confident person. And so now I guess my personality is trying to shift into that more. And it's only been a week, but I do feel like I'm kind of getting there, you know?
Right.
Um, I'm still, I still have my own, insecurities or whatever about other things, but that's just normal,
Yeah.
whatever. And like, it's not gonna make you this uber confident right away guy, right?
No.
And it's gonna be, it's just hair, right? And you
Yeah.
get it off. That's one thing you don't have to think about. And like, and yeah, I guess the look, I like the look. I'm growing into the look, and hopefully, I can build my confidence through it. So
Brilliant. No, I like that. I like that. The fact that, it's almost like, of course, when we're dealing with this thing of hair loss, that's not like the only thing we worry about. Of course it's not,
right,
everyone's working on a number of things, right? It's just
right,
human nature. Um, but I would hope that it's been similar for you where once you kind of deal with one element, hair loss being quite a big one, it kind of encouraged you to look forward into like dealing with those other areas, like you said, with
right.
confidence and things like that. And I mentioned earlier about giving you that little kick, almost looking forward to the future and things you can do and other ways you can, keep working on yourself, improving,
Right.
rather than looking at the future as something that's like, oh, how much more is my hair going to be falling out? Or do you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
this is a mark in the road, like of
Yeah. It's a
your
milestone.
time. Yeah, a milestone. And it's like you're going down a different path now, one that is
Right.
actually more, that's more positive.
Yeah. So before I actually did this, I was, I guess, on a self-improvement kick this whole year. I kind of
Right.
made the resolution at the beginning of the year, like, because my hair was looking real bad at the beginning of the year, like it was. And then
Yeah.
I made a, resolution. Okay, I'm going to do something about this, either transplant or shave it. I can't keep doing these. I got like the finasteride or the shampoos, all that. Because that helps like 10%, or it gives you like small gains, and it's still there. It's still on my mind. I need like the full fix,
Yeah.
whether transplant or shave it. And so I finally landed on like shaving would be the right way. I didn't want the scar. That was kind of a deal breaker for me. Um, and so I tried to, trying to learn new skills. Like I was trying to learn a language. I'm trying to learn Japanese right now. It's kind of fun. I
Awesome.
just started, but
Awesome.
but then I guess I was learning how to cook. I got this new apartment because my old one was kind of shabby and kind of but
Yeah.
so this one I love a lot more. So all these little things, trying to build myself up to it, and then just confiding in friends. I have one, I guess my best friend who I confided in. I'm like, I'm gonna do this day, or and then I'd miss it because I'd be like, I'm not sure, and then finally, after talking to him a bunch, he supported me so much, in this decision, and finally brought up the nerve to turn on the video, and then I guess the rest is history.
Brilliant. No, I love that. And you said you've seen like obviously my videos and the things that I talk about. And those things all helped me too. It was like the hair for me was almost a reminder. I'd got kind of, I guess, kind of complacent in other areas of my life, like you mentioned as well. Like I'd already done studying and I'd moved to a different country when it kind of happened to me, but I was just not really going anywhere, like regressing almost, like I wasn't doing other things to improve my life. And, you know, I was trying to learn different bits here and there. But then when my hair started falling out, I was like, it was just like a reminder, I guess, of like, don't, this isn't, this like journey is not something that you just kind of give up on and stop like, oh yeah, I'm just happy with this. You know, it's like you need to constantly be making changes. And for me, that's almost how I viewed it. It's like a little reminder, like you need to be working on other things, and good things come from that. It's like a knock-on effect, you know, like a snowball effect. The stuff that you're doing with the language, change of environment, things like that are all great things to be focusing on whilst you're kind of going through this, because then you've got other things to focus on other than kind of like obsessing over the hair and the image and things like that. So have you found that those things have helped?
Oh yeah, it's definitely helped to not have that thing to think about like that. It's really just a distraction.
Yeah,
I think that's the best way to describe it. And if it's gone, then you can obviously focus more on, you know, what do you want to get better at. For me, that's hockey. I guess cooking and Japanese, all these different things that I'm just trying to get better at just as me, you know, and not
brilliant.
having to be distracted by the hair.
Brilliant. So you in your original video you said, you know, this has been a long time coming for you, right? Like 4 years almost of, you know, you sort of deciding, right, which avenue will I go down, and then to finally kind of pluck up the courage. So what were some of the things that kind of helped you make that decision, and then I guess really kind of finally take action on it? Um Recently, in fact I just had a call from a guy called Nick who said that his advice was almost to do it when you're not like really motivated to do it, almost when you feel like you don't want to do it, because
Right.
if you can do it then you really know you can sort of commit to it, and nothing can sort of
Right. You
make
know,
you doubt it.
I did have kind of a similar idea. Like, I didn't want to do it like after I had been out at a bar or whatever, drinking a lot, because I didn't want that to be my decision making process. Like, oh, I can't do it sober. Then what? You know, that seems not very, I guess, good. I don't know. It
Yeah,
seems like you need to be yourself when you make this decision, and like you need to, you know, buy into it. And I don't think I can do that while I'm, you know, I've had, you know, beers for I don't know however long that night. I wanted to be, you know, yeah, myself. I wanted to make that decision as myself. So that's exactly what I did. I'm happy about that. But yeah, there were a lot of things that helped me along the way. And I guess the biggest one being just confiding in people. Like, you know, for the last year, I'd been hinting at, you know, for certain people, like, oh yeah, you know, what would I look like if I did this? Ha ha ha, you know, that kind of thing. Just like little drops, but not really, you know, committal things. And
yeah,
then I start to, I guess, really talk with my best friend about it, being like, okay, I want to do this. I'm going to need some help. I'm not sure if I can do it by myself. And he was so helpful along the way. In fact, so he streams on Twitch, and he didn't tell me he did this for me, but he went like a week before I actually ended up shaving off my head. He ended up dyeing his hair on stream, and I'm pretty convinced the result, like, he did that because of our conversation, just to help me along. So that meant a lot to me. And at that point, I knew I was pretty committed. I have to go because, you know, if my
brilliant.
friend's going to do that for me, I have to, you know, actually do this for him, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
get this done.
No, I think it's great advice. Once you get it out there to people as well, you bring it into reality, right? And it makes it seem like, hey, this is something I can actually definitely deal with.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So now that we got you here and you've had a bit of time to kind of get used to it and whatnot, you mentioned there about confiding in people. Is there anything else you want to share, you know, with the people watching this who are going to watch the original video and kind of, and this after, that you think, you know, might be able to help those people that are in that space that you were, you know, where you're really struggling to make a decision on what to do with it, and having now been on the other side of, like, you know, you've shaved it off and you got this new look and this new drive. Is there any other advice or anything else you want to share kind of with the people, I guess?
So definitely friends number one. Like I said, anything else? Like, I guess definitely like your videos help so much. Like watching the other people go through this was like beyond helpful. Really, like it's the reason I actually got the idea in my head to actually try this. And
Brilliant.
so that's a huge thing. Just find people you can connect to. Find people that will, care about you no matter what, and just do it, man, and just put the video on. And if you're not confident in that moment, work yourself up, kind of like I did, get little by little, little by little, and then you'll just find that confidence to just go for it. So yeah, build yourself up, and you have friends to help you do that.
Brilliant. No, Jimmy, that's fantastic. And I really got to thank you as well, for for documenting it, documenting it. And kudos to you for also sharing it with, the wider people on Facebook, probably people you haven't seen for a few years. Because I get the whole Facebook kind of ecosystem. I think I would be nervous to do that too. And in fact, I was, like, when I first put that picture up, but I knew that that was a good thing to do. Just get it
Right.
out there, like this is the new me type of thing, right?
Exactly.
And people are just they're just way more supportive than you ever think they would be, and in a genuine way, because you're being real with them, right? You're being real, you're being genuine about yourself, and people respond with the same thing back, and it's just great to, I think it's a good little boost that you need to kind of
I can
really go
confirm
forward with it.
everything you just said. Yep, I can
Yeah,
confirm it all. That is exactly what it was like for me. So.
brilliant, brilliant. No, thank you so much.
You can be anything.